Hi, Alex and Tim. Welcome to ITD 400, your senior project course. This will be the last session in the Achieve Degree program. So congratulations on being this close to completing your undergraduate degree. In this course, we're just going to move seamlessly through from where we had left off in SciC 248, the intro to the senior project. So you're just going to continue working on all components of your senior project in this class. There are no assigned readings throughout the weeks. You're just expected to continue with your research and development of your project. There are no lectures throughout this course. It's more of an independent study type format where you're just working and getting feedback from your professors throughout the course. Myself and Professor Green will be working with you throughout the rest of the 8 weeks. And let's take a quick look at the syllabus. So for this course, the discussion forums are only worth 10 points each for a total of 80 points. You are expected to make some sort of response that discusses your project in some way, any problems you might be having, any questions, feedback that you might want from your peers or your professors, and then a reply to your peer. We also have assignments that are due throughout the course. These will be directly related to your project once again, just as they were in the last course offering. Your senior project is worth a total of 520 points, and the breakdown for that is 200 points for your thesis paper, 200 points for your presentation, and 120 points for your real-time question and answer session. Something to note with the question and answer session is that you are not presenting your project in the question and answer session. Your presentation here will be submitted the week before, and Nate and myself will be reviewing those and we'll be ready with questions for you when we do the real-time session. So your audiovisual presentation should be fully narrated and complete by the end of week 7. And then in the real-time question and answer session, you're just going to discuss your project. We're just going to ask you a few questions. We want to hear, you be able to discuss some components of your project. What was the most interesting piece? Some of the research that you had done. Just real basic, question and answer, back and forth. And it'll be about 10-15 minutes, depending on how long you decide that you want to discuss your project. It's gone very well for the other students that we've had, so don't be particularly nervous about this. If it is something that you're concerned with, contact me, because you do have the option to participate in the question and answer session via a text option. So what we're probably going to use in this class is Skype as opposed to Big Blue Button. Big Blue Button has been having a variety of technical issues. So we'll most likely use Skype, and you can type your responses if that would be something that you'd be interested in. So just let me know. The schedule of activities are found here in the syllabus. In week 1, you're supposed to be submitting your paper outline. Week 2, you'll be doing another research report. So you're going to demonstrate that you're still continuing your research process, because chances are, there's still bits and pieces that you need to address in your project. This does require notes, just like in the last course. Your paper draft, originally it had been set to 3 pages. I just made an adjustment in the week 3 block that reduces that requirement a bit. What I really want to see at this point is I want to see your introductory paragraph or paragraphs. I want to see your thesis statement. I want to see how you're building to that argument, just the foundation of your paper in and of itself. So what you're expected to submit in week 3 is I want to see a title page, proper APA format title page, and then your introductory paragraph or paragraphs, however you have it set up. That would include your thesis statement within the introduction, as would be expected. So that's really what I'm looking for in week 3. And that way we can troubleshoot any areas that you might have before you continue to progress with your writing. If you have more than just the paragraph already set or already written up, please feel free to send that in. The more you have, the more feedback we can give you. But technically all that I'm looking for at this point is, like I said, the title page in proper APA format, and then your introduction that has your thesis statement clear and strong and nice and specific. Week 4, another research report. Then by week 5, you should have a tentative presentation set up. You should be working on your presentation right along with your paper. So I want to see that you're making some progress with that. It doesn't have to be a full presentation. I don't have, it doesn't have to be fully narrated at any point, but I just want to see that you're working on it and that you have a nice structure set up, perhaps even, some slides complete, so we can give you some feedback on that. Week 6, I would like to have a full paper draft. This would allow us to provide you with some significant feedback before your paper is due in week 8. So be prepared to have a full draft completed in week 6. In week 7, there's no assignment per se, but your final presentation is due. So you need to submit your final PowerPoint presentation fully narrated, and that is due on the Sunday of week 7. That's so Professor Green and I can review it ahead of the Q&A session. And this week also you'll be scheduling your the time and date for your Q&A session. And in week 8, we will do the Q&A session. Like I said, we'll probably be doing this on Skype. Details will be forthcoming as we get closer in time to that. And your final paper is due. So that would be the full schedule of the course. Let's get back in there. And I just want to make sure that you're all aware of the resources that are up in the top. We do have an APA, some APA style resources. Purdue OWL is fantastic in getting some information on how to do in-text citations, the reference page, how to do APA formatting, so how to properly cite or format a title page, how to do the page numbers, that sort of thing. These others will also give you some good information on how to format properly using APA style. And then here is a sample paper that just might give you an idea of how, some good solid writing style, how to avoid using I within your paper, how to use in-text citations appropriately, that sort of thing, how to synthesize ideas, how to use transition sentences. This paper will give you a pretty decent overview. It's a thesis paper in and of itself, but it'll give you an idea of how a paper should be structured. How do you connect ideas throughout? So feel free to take a look at that. We have your research report form, again, is up top. Grading rubrics. Make sure you're taking a look at these as well. They'll tell you precisely what the expectations are for the papers and the presentations and the Q&A. So make sure you become familiar with those rubrics, because that's how we'll be using to grade your final project. Senior project instructions. Make sure that you have a firm understanding of what the expectations are. This area here, if you're nervous for whatever reason that your presentation file might be too large once you have narration put in there, feel free to use this to practice to make sure that it's going to upload properly. The upload size for Moodle, I believe, is 2 gig, so it shouldn't be an issue. It hasn't been an issue in the past, but if you're feeling a little anxious and you think that there might be a problem, just upload it here and we'll be able to check for you. And just reviewing how the class is set up. We're in the typical weekly modules. So each week, discussion forum, original post due on Wednesdays, reply due on Sundays. assignments due on Sundays, same as all the typical classes that we've done so far. Again, no readings, no lectures. This is all about you doing good, solid research and crafting your project. So there's no additional readings or anything of that sort. And we'll just go right through. In week 7, we'll have the schedule up for the Q&A. You'll be uploading your final presentation at that point. And then in week 8, we will be completing the class. So that would be about it. I'm really excited to start this with you. It's been an absolute pleasure and an honor working with everyone over the course of these years. And I'm very excited to see how your project progresses and to see you off in your final session with Achieve. As always, if you have any questions or concerns, you can email myself or Professor Green, and we look forward to working with you this semester. All right, bye-bye.